Okay, I'll go ahead and start. Hey, thanks everybody for being here tonight for our team call. I'm super excited to have our guest speaker, Sarah, on tonight. And so I'm going to just start out with a few announcements and then we'll get started and we can hear more about her and her story. So first off, our free clean eating group ends on Sunday, and then our next fitness and nutrition accountability group starts on March 21st. So you are welcome to be a part of that again, and be sure to invite your friends to that. We have the Success Club cruise to Jamaica is next week. So you'll be seeing lots of pictures and posts about that on Facebook. And I would totally go if I wasn't pregnant, but you know, that's how life is. But babies are better anyway, so. And so the cool thing about Beachbody coaching is that it's a lot more life coaching than actual fitness coaching, I feel like, because not only do we help support others with their health and fitness, but we also take into account, you know, their whole lives and their, you know, we try to add value to them and give them support and motivation, inspiration. And that's what I love about coaching, because we encompass everything, all areas of life, and give support and help to our friends for all of those things. And it's not just about a diet, and it's not just about working out. And so as you know, the 3 vital behaviors that we do as coaches is, you know, we invite others to join us on our journey and be a part of it with us. And then we work out and drink our Shakeology or the performance protein powder every day. And then we do personal development. And I love that personal development is such a huge part of this company, because not only are we working on ourselves on all areas of our lives, but we're able to add value to other people's lives as well from the things that we're learning and the ways that we're growing. And I love that about this company. Also, it's not physical, and it's not just physical and mental, but it's, you know, the whole entire aspect of our lives. So, you know, in our support groups, not only do we talk about our workouts and our fitness, our nutrition and water, but we also share victories of the day, and we share pictures of our kids and our families. And I just love that we are able to share our struggles and our victories with each other and really become closer to one another with that. I have a passion for empowering women and helping them see their potential and their strength. And that's why I really wanted Sarah to be on the call tonight, because she embodies this so well. She is such a strong woman and such a strong example for us. And I've just really looked up to her ever since I met her. We met about 3 years ago at the gym. And since that time, she has gone to become certified in teaching kettlebells. And so she has been doing that for the last about 2.5 or so years. She has become a mind strength mentor and helps women with that in groups that she has for that, as well as she has written a book. And I would show you what it looked like, but I let my friend borrow it. There you go. So
I'll show it to you because I have one.
It's an awesome book, and you'd love it. And she is also a mom of 4 kids with 1 on the way. So she's just a super special person, and the more you get to know her, the more you fall in love with her. She's really cool, and thank you so much for being here, Sarah. So I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you, and we'd love to hear more about you.
Okay. All right. So just so I know, what time do you want me to stop? I'm looking at my clock. So, you know, us women, we like to chat.
Yeah, like 20 minutes is good.
Okay. All right. So 7:30 basically?
Yeah,
right?
Perfect.
My time, anyway.
Uh-huh.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, thank you, Heather, for this opportunity. I always love to share my story because, I mean, we all have a story. We all have a background, and it's basically got us to where we are today. And so to start off, just giving you a backstory of my life. So I grew up in a Christian household, and was placed like in top values and certain things, right? And I lived this like bubble life. I was a very naive kind of a girl. However, like I strived so much to please my parents, please those around me, right? A lot of us women kind of tend to get into this kind of situation, maybe as a young woman. And I noticed that as I began to get older, getting married and stuff, I realized that I had created like all these beliefs about myself. And what happened was these beliefs started at such a young age. And these beliefs were things like, obviously that I wasn't good enough. There was beliefs that I didn't, that I would never amount to anything, that I didn't know enough, that I wasn't a good writer, right? So all these negative darts, like beliefs that I created in my mind. And as I went into marriage and motherhood, I realized that once that started happening and the more I believed it, obviously the more I thought it was true. And I'm looking around at all these other mothers and all these other women, and I'm like, how do I measure up? Like, it was so draining on my life. And what I've done is I have this, like, I finally hit this breaking point. And what happened was the first 12 years of my marriage, like I kind of found myself in this, like striving for this perfection, right? And striving to make my household, make my marriage like a storybook fairy tale. And I realized every day I was trying. And at the end of the day, I would just like cry myself to sleep. And I realized that I wasn't like measuring up to the high expectation that I placed on myself. And so, that first 12 years of marriage, my communication with my husband was like it was a mess. And I was the kind of woman that I would like brush things under the rug and act like nothing was wrong. And whenever something would bother me about him, like I would just kind of brush it off and then hopefully go to bed, and the next day everything would be fine. Right. And the more I did that, the more it just like grew and grew and grew. Right. And so when it was in 2013, July of 2013 was pretty much like my turning point in my life. And it was the first time in my life, like I said, I grew up in a Christian household. So like divorce was not an option, right? You know, I was taught all my life that was not even an option, and just to work things through and you'll get through it. And that was the first time in my life where I was just like, I am done. I cannot do this any longer. And I just needed an out. And at that point in my life too, my youngest was like 2. And I had not been taking care of my body anyway at that point. Like I would do occasional exercises here and there. Like I grew up in sports and stuff, but I was never consistent or anything. And so obviously my body was already off and my mind was totally out of whack, and my relationships were failing. And I figured maybe getting a divorce would solve all my problems. And so I, that month of July, was kind of like this, like, I'm either going to go down this path that, will lead me to unhappiness the way that I'm consistently like, doing the same kind of pattern, or I'm really going to have to figure out what's wrong with me. Because what I believed was that I could change him, right? And I could change everybody around me, but I never thought about changing myself. Because I was like, oh, like, of course I would like beat myself up and stuff, but I just wanted to fix everybody else. I didn't want to fix me. And so this point came, and my husband and I just had like this breaking point. I'm like, we have got to get help. And coming from my family background and his family background, they don't ask for help at all. Like, they're very, I don't know, just family dynamic. It's just, you don't ask for help because that's a sign of weakness, right? And so finally I'm like, I can't go any longer. And so my husband and I went to this 3-day conference kind of thing, and just kind of like 3 whole days, just like aha moments of just like understanding how our mind works and how much our mind body connects, right? And how important it is to take care of our minds and our bodies every day and create certain habits that align with what we want to create, right? I'm sure you guys know all about that kind of stuff because you talk about it. But so yeah, we went through this 3-day conference, and we learned how to communicate with each other, and we started to see a glimmer of hope. You know, finally I felt like we were kind of planting that little seed in the ground again, and trying to grow our relationship again. And so as I saw that happening, I realized that I placed a lot of pressure on myself. And I realized that I needed help. And so I actually hired a coach myself, and went through this 90-day kind of thing with her. And she just kind of opened my eyes to see that I had potential, because I'd never really, like, when you're accountable to somebody, it's amazing what things can do, right? When you just have somebody that's just like, hey, checking in on you, like, how's it going? Like, what are you struggling with? What came up for you today, right? And just having somebody to also call you out on your crap too, because sometimes we kind of get in little slumps where we know we should be doing certain things and whatever, but she'd be like, so why didn't you do that? You know? And so then I would feel guilty and then be like, oh. And then I realized, though, as I went through this process, that I was doing it for her. And that was like a huge aha moment for me, because, I paid her money, right? But I realized as I finished the program that she's, we did certain habits and things that we would account for every day. But I realized at the end that I was trying to show up for her, like to look good for her. And I basically went through that process kind of like, why wasn't I not focusing on like me? Like, obviously I grew through that experience, but I was a pleaser. I'm a pleaser kind of girl, right? And I didn't want to be judged, and I didn't want to have people look at me and tell me whatever. And so I was totally out to please her. And by the end of that 90 days, sure, I had a transformation mentally and stuff, but I realized in that moment that as for her as a coach, that was something that she kind of missed out on. And so then I was thinking about, okay, well, what could I do to kind of, because I too, like Heather said earlier, like I love to inspire women as well, and to help them to become their best selves, and to help them realize that they can go from these feelings of being insecure and judged and not good enough to really become the confident woman that they want to be, right? And so during that experience was when I fell in love with kettlebells, and that just kind of was like, the kettlebell was kind of like the starting point, and it made me look at my life and realize that physically I was able to do something pretty difficult. I mean, it's a pretty strenuous certification, and the great thing too is I had some great coaches as well, and they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And that's another great thing about coaches and mentors, that they see something in you. Because we're so good at beating ourselves up. And anyway, so they're like, have you ever thought about going and getting trained to do this? And I was like, whatever, no. Because remember my belief that I had, that I didn't know enough. And how could I go into a room with a group of people in a group class and teach them how to throw this hunk of metal around? Like, no, there's no way. Like, I can't. That was totally just one of those negative beliefs that I had. And they're like, well, so like I was working through that, and I went home that night and I was thinking about it, and I realized this was something that I've carried through so many years of my life, that, you know, why not? Why couldn't I do something like this? And so that was a total mind shift, to just taking that experience, and I worked every day, worked hard, and I'm one to, you know, I do positive affirmations every day, and I set myself up, and I meditate and do all these things to get my mind aligned with what I really want. And so then I went through that experience, and it was just so fun to like witness some strength moves that I've done. And so then after that was over, I was like, okay, well, if I could do something like this, then what else is possible for me, right? Like I worked hard in this thing. All right, now maybe I can work on something else to kind of push me a little bit farther, to push my confidence level just a little bit more. And that's all it is it's just doing just those little basic everyday things. Like I said, like the meditations, or I don't know what you guys do as a group or whatever, but just all those little things add up, you know, as long as you consistently do them every day. Anyway, and so I obviously was having a great experience with it, and I just kind of felt like I wanted to share this with other people and share my story. And so that led me into writing a book and led me into mentoring. And so that's what I do now. But yeah, like this is my book. It's called Mind Strength for Women. And remember the belief that I had that I wasn't a good writer? So I decided that I wanted to challenge that belief. And it was not easy. There was a lot of days that I cried myself to sleep, and I told my husband, I can't do this. Like, you know, just those thoughts. And, but when you're writing your story and writing what you've learned about it, I mean, it does come a little easier. But you know, the perfectionism mentality that I had in my mind was, oh, does that sound good? How are they going to judge this? And right. And so I had to work through a lot of that. And still to this day, like I have a mental process that I go through when negative thoughts come up. It's actually in my book. It's like a 5-step thing, but I still find myself even now, like walking down the street or whatever, like I'll look at something and I'll judge something or compare myself to something. And I'm like, wait a second, whoa. And then I go through my little thing in my head and then kind of get myself out of it. And it's been interesting to really to see myself like, and show more empathy towards other people. One of my really powerful things that I do, like especially when I get into like those comparison modes, when I see comparing my life to somebody else's or whatever, I just think about, I kind of like visualize this person in my mind, and I have them like, actually, I want to have you guys do this right now. I want you to think of somebody in your life right now that you've either had issues with, or you're struggling with, or you're comparing your life with in some sort of fashion. Do you have this person in your mind? Okay. Now I want you to close your eyes. Now I want you to picture this person. Okay. Now I want you to say in your mind, just like me, this person, here, hold on, let me pull it up. I had my thing here and it just went away. Usually I have this memorized, but okay, so just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. Just like me, this person is known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs. And just like me, this person is learning about life. So how do you guys feel after that? Like, it's just totally restructuring your frame of mind and like picturing themselves like, I mean, we all struggle. We all have issues. We all have things that we're working with or working on, and we're all human. And when we get into this comparison thing, we're not that much different from each other. And so that's one thing that's really helped me a lot, because that's just one of the bigger things that I've kind of struggled with myself. And another big part of my mentoring is I obviously talk about loving yourself, because that's a place where I had to go in order for me to get to the place where I'm at and to feel comfortable in my skin and to be confident in who I am. And one of those powerful exercises that I would do every day is just a simple little mirror exercise. And maybe there was like a YouTube video that would go around, like, I don't know, a little while back, of this little girl. She's standing in front of this mirror and she's like totally spouting off all this awesomeness about her. Anyway, so that's basically what it is. And so it's called, like, what I do is in the morning, I look at myself in the mirror. And this is one of the biggest things that totally, like, when you actually have to look at yourself like eye to eye in the mirror, like, it's pretty powerful. And when you can see yourself through God's eyes, because I'm like, my whole message is very Christian based. And so, like, I stand in front of the mirror and I express love to myself. Like I say, I love you, Sarah Chapman. I love and approve myself just as I am now. And I'm imperfect and I'm wired for struggle, but I'm worthy of love and belonging. And then after that, I kind of go into like maybe something that I'm going to be doing that day, express gratitude to myself or whatever. And for some women, like, this was when I coach women and mentor them, like, this is one of the biggest struggles, because for them to just stand in front of the mirror and like say stuff to themselves is really, really hard. And when I first started doing this, like, it took me like a month or two before I could feel like I could really stare at myself in the mirror. And it's pretty powerful. But anyway, that's just one of those things that really got me to a place of just loving my body as it is right now. Sure, I still have moments of struggle. Heather mentioned that I'm pregnant. And so this one actually was a surprise baby. So I wasn't expecting it to happen. And so but it's been a really great learning experience for me, because I've now can relate to like women who their bodies are changing and all the kinds of stuff. Like, obviously I had 4 other kids, but I wasn't mentally there. But this time I am, and it's like a whole nother experience. And to just look at my body and be like, oh my gosh, like, full appreciation that my body can do something like this. Because before it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm totally pregnant. But now it's just like, I see my body as a tool and a vessel. And when you can get yourself to a place where you can love and appreciate your body, and just speak kind words to it, it's amazing what things can do. And so that's basically my biggest message, is just that appreciation for your body, loving yourself, and just being confident in your own skin, and realizing that judgments and comparisons, I mean, it's part of life, but at the same time, you can kind of get yourself out of it and think of other people and empathize more and realize, you know, they're too struggling just like I am. And so anyway, 7:29, I did pretty good.
Nice job.
So, yeah, anyway, is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah,
sure.
that's perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciated everything that you said, and we learned a ton from you. So thank you so much for your time and for your honesty. I know that's coming straight from your heart, and you've been through a lot. So we thank you so much for sharing with us. Yeah. So, and thanks to all of you ladies who are here tonight, and I'll go ahead and post the recording in our group page. And tell us your email address, Sarah, if anybody wants to get a hold of you.
Yeah, so it's Sarah with an H, so SARAH at mindstrengthmentor.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, and thanks everybody for being here. And I hope you have a great night. Thanks again.
Okay, bye.